And you know the sun's sitting fast, just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night. Now I sit on the porch, watch lightning bugs fly. I can't see too good, I got tears in my eyes. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't want to go. I love you, my town, you'll always live in my soul. And you know the sun's sitting fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night.
Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Burgeo Academy Accelerated Reader Awards, Burgeo Academy Month in Assembly, Burgeo Fire Department's Annual Fireman's Ball. These stories was the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
You're passing. You got to support the puck. Do I have to tell you this? And we're getting killed on the boards. Hello. This is your territory, Grimson. Do your job.
Grimson.
Hello? Hi, honey. What? Al? All right. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, sweetheart. Hey, it's my girl. You know, my daughter.
Love. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
On Friday of last week, we went to the Burgeo Academy for the Accelerator Reader Awards. The Accelerator Reader, or AR program, has been ongoing at our school for a number of years. This program was set up to encourage reading in our students. This is how it works. Students go to the public library to pick up a book that has been marked as an AR book. There are different books for different age groups. Once the student has read the book, they then take a test on the book and receive points if they pass the test. Last Friday, we were invited to the school to see the students getting their certificates. For reading 20 books and getting 10 points, certificates were presented to Brady Mercer, Tyson Cutler, Caitlin Spencer, Tiffany Spencer, Allison Ann, and Rebecca Sims. For 20 points and reading 40 books, Mrs. Tucker presented Dylan Piddle, Matthew Ball, Michelle Ingram, Gavin Cloger, Bailey Parsons, Terry-Lynn Anderson, and Andrew McDonald with certificates. For 30 points and reading 60 books, Patty Ricketts, Hillary Han, E.J. Scott, Nicholas Standing, Tyler Durnford, Joshua Pink, Sammy Fudge, and Joshua Green were given certificates. Next were students who had 40 points and read 80 to 100 books. Christopher Han, Caitlin Durnford, Megan Thorne, Ryan Randall, Robin Courtney, Nicholas Riggets, and Cheyenne Piercy. For reading 100 books, there was Curtis Ann, Douglas Arlen, and Jordan Ann. With 60 points and 120 books, Emily Mead and Dylan Bungay. The next level was 80 points for reading 160 books. Alexandria Parsons, Carrie Tucker, and Kelsey Grant. For reading 180 books, Brian Sims and Nicholas Tucker got 90 points. Brandon Day, a grade 4 student, read 200 plus books. Blake McDonald read 220 plus books. Jade Cutler read 240 plus books. Cameron Courtney read 260 plus books. Dylan Tucker, 300 plus books. Joey Compton read 320 plus. Joshua Skinner, 400 plus. And Scott Porter read approximately 400 plus books as well. Most of the books that these students read were age-appropriate novels. These were the top 3 readers of the Accelerated Reader program. Third place with 160 points, Joey Compton. Joshua Skinner with 200 points, and Scott Porter with 270 points. Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Vatcher did a short presentation about playing safe, swimming safe, and riding safe. This presentation was brought to the school by the public health nurse. We congratulate all the students who took part in the AR program at the school and encourage them to keep on reading. Also on Friday of last week, we were invited back to the Burgeo Academy for their monthly assembly, the last one for this school year. This was the last monthly assembly for this school year. Mr. Penny welcomed all the students to the assembly, announced the exam schedule, ordering class pictures, informed students that would be a new textbook for Canadian history in September, and the summer school will begin on July the 4th. Next, the grade 10 theater arts class presented their year-end play. The play was written by Alicia Vatcher and is called Too Late. Students were graded on this performance. There was also a presentation of certificate for a variety of activities. For example, the girls' floor hockey team, boys' floor hockey team, boys and girls volleyball teams, cross-country running team, boys softball, and a girls softball team. Mr. Penny thanked the coaches this year: Lou Vatcher, Kenny Errett, Miss Atcher, Mr. Fever, Mr. Pink, Miss Abbott, and Mrs. Pink. Mr. Vivian presented certificates to 8 students: Paul Billard, Jeremy Bobbitt, Matthew Dominy, David Mead, Julie Bagg, Megan Billard, Ashley Lushman, and Philip Anderson for their course in workplace safety. Miss Cannell gave all the choir members certificates. She told us that the next school year there will be 2 choirs. Students in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6 would make up 1 choir, and students in 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12 would be the other choir. Then there were certificate presentations for after-school sports, Troy Productions, tutors for tuition, and the student council members. Mr. Penny mentioned that other groups had already been given their certificates: the AR program, the Respect team, and mentoring. Entertainment was next. This month, students from grade 6 did a short play called The Secret Dance. Dominique Ingram and Brittany Billard played 3 selections on their keyboard. Next, Mr. Penny congratulated Mrs. Penny on receiving her master's in education. He also thanked Miss X for her work term with the school and extended best wishes as she finishes up her education degree. He also wishes Mr. Durnford and Mr. Pink best wishes in their retirement. The Respect team awarded Terry Lynn Anderson and Jason Warren with certificates and a prize for caught being good. They also did a chair for Mr. Durnford and Mr. Pink in honor of their retirement. The student council presented them with cards signed by all the Burgeo Academy students. To conclude the assembly, Mr. Penny wished the students a safe and happy summer. On Saturday, June the 11th, we were invited to the Firemen's Annual Ball. MC for the evening, Blaine Marks, seated the Ed table guests and invited Fire Chief Glenn Ann to pray the fireman's prayer. Reverend Dean Sellers said grace over the meal. Next, MC Blaine introduced the Ed table guests and then invited Councillor John Grant to bring greetings from the town. John also brought regrets on behalf of Mayor Ann, who was out of town for business meetings. Fire Chief Glenn then presented the fire department's year-end report. Clayton Meade offered a toast to the firemen's wives. The first speaker for the evening was RCMP officer Kathy Whitehead. Our MP Bill Matthews was next, and our MHA Calvin Parsons was also one of the speakers for the evening. Clayton Meade held a moment of silence for all deceased firemen. The presentation of awards were next. They began with the Fire Department Awards. Fire Chief Glenn and Deputy Fire Chief Lloyd Janes presented T-shirts to Max Strickland and Guy Ann for first place attendance. T-shirts also went to Leonard Porter and Henry Eyre for second place attendance. Fireman of the Year or the Fireman Appreciation Award went to Dave Billard. The next awards were the Council Awards. The awards were presented by Stan Kosser and John Grant. 1 year lapel pin went to Leonard Porter, Louis Standing, Rodney Sims, and Henry Eyre. 2nd year lapel pins went to Corey Meade. 3 years of service lapel pins went to Dave McDonald, Dave Courtney, and Max Strickland. Raymond Green Jr. was presented with a 4th year lapel pin. For 10 years of service, Glenn Domney and Rick Sand received a lapel pin and a writing set. For 25 years of service, Bruce Green and Glenn Ann were presented with a gold watch and a lapel pin. Under the heading of other presentations, our MHA Calvin Parsons presented the Burgeo Fire Department with a check for $5,000. He also presented the Burgeo Recreation Commission with a check for $5,000 to pay off the Zamboni machine.
I'd like to take this opportunity to do it now if I could publicly. I know this is the fireman's fault, but a lot of the gentlemen here play a role in this, and the ladies as well. And I'd like to take this opportunity again publicly while I'm here to do this. Back some months ago, you all know what we went through to do some improvements to the local stadium over the past year or two. And I think that facility has been very well enjoyed by all, particularly the kids. And the Recreation Committee worked hard to get the place up and running. And of course, we had a telethon back here a few months ago. I came down again and we tried to coax money out of everybody. We did pretty good. We had a Zamboni, that was a second-hand one. And it's a great piece of equipment, albeit it's second-hand, it's in great shape, and it's going to save people a lot of work and effort this winter. You won't have to be up on the rank 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning getting ready with this piece of gear. It cost $15,000, and we were lucky enough, thanks to John Grant and everybody who was involved in the Recreation Committee, through the telethon to raise $10,000, which left us a bit shy. So I went kissing and hugging another minister by the name of Paul Shelley. And I'm pleased to announce there, Mr. Grant, to yourself and your commission, that I've squeezed out of Mr. Shelley, and I'm very thankful to him, $5,000 to pay off the Zamboni.
There was also a very special presentation to Conrad Dumford.
I have the pleasure tonight of making another presentation, which we do have. The Life Saving Society recognizes local heroes at time to time in Government House in St. John's. On Tuesday, April 5th, 2005, the Royal Life Saving Society of Newfoundland and Labrador branch recognized 25 Newfoundlanders, Labradorians. They received the honors for this year. Each of the recipients were involved in the rescue or rescue attempt of someone who was drowning. And as a Royal Society, of course, Her Majesty the Queen is the patron of the Royal Life Saving Society in Canada. But in Newfoundland and Labrador, the Lieutenant Governor, as the Queen's representative, is the patron of the branch. and rescue commendation certificates were presented, and we had one of those recipients here with us tonight. And on behalf of the government and on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, I was very pleased to do this publicly. He's also a fireman, and I thought it was most appropriate that we would do it on this occasion where it could be acknowledged with his peers and with the PBS president as well. So this gentleman dived into frigid waters to rescue a gentleman here, Roy Marston, whose boat had overturned and Mr. Marston couldn't swim. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our many local heroes we'd like to recognize. This happened in March 1978, Mr. Conrad Winford.
Daphne Janes presented the fire department with a check for $500, and the Burnett's presented Fire Chief Glenn with a check for $4,000. After all these presentations, Reverend George Charles gave thanks for the dedication of the fire department and for the meal. A dance followed the meal. We extend our congratulations to all firemen on their awards and their dedication to our town. We received an email from Alan Anderson with a very interesting picture. On Friday of last week, Alan Anderson was at his cottage in Indianola when he had heard a plane going over. Like most of us would do, he looked up. However, he didn't see just any old plane. This is what he saw: a Vickers Vimy plane. If you've been watching the NTV news these past couple of weeks, they did a short story about this plane. 2 pilots are going to take the flight Alcock and Brown took years ago. According to the NTV News, they've been in St. John's waiting for the proper weather conditions. This picture was taken with a digital camera by Alan's brother-in-law, Melton Keynes. Thanks, Alan and Melton, for letting us use your picture. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
Feel the flame forever burn, teaching lessons we must learn to bring us closer to the power of the dream. Feel the flame forever burn, teaching lessons we must learn to bring us closer to the power of the dream. Feel the flame, teach lessons we must learn. It is the power of the dream that brings us to realize the power of the dream.
Last Friday, the RCMP held their torch run in aid of Special Olympics, and we contacted Constable Jonathan Moran for an update. Approximately 14 individuals took part in the law enforcement torch run in aid of Special Olympics on Friday, June the 10th. The weather wasn't exactly favorable for the walk, but these people decided to go anyway. Before they got halfway through the walk, it began to rain. These people didn't seem to mind. Through the sales of T-shirts, donations, and pledges, a total of $505 was raised for this worthwhile cause. Thanks to everyone who participated, those who bought T-shirts, gave donations, and collected pledges. On Monday of this week, Veritas, a seismic company from Alberta, was in town for a job fair. The job fair was held from 12 noon to 7 p.m. When we visited at 1 p.m., there were a few people filling out an application. We spoke to Jennifer Price, an administrator with Veritas. Ms. Price told us that her company was looking for about 120 workers. By Monday, they had 90 of these positions filled. The company has already had job fairs in Nova Scotia, Corner Brook, and Grand Falls, Windsor, and Burgeo was their last place to visit. Veritas was looking for employees for the summer months, and Miss Price told us that they had 6 applications from these guys. They would be hired as soon as the drug tests were done and the applicants passed the test. Miss Price also told us that the drug test was done on site. 22 applications were done out for the winter seasons. The applicants who applied for summer employment could be working as soon as the end of June or the first week of July. The winter applicants were asked to call the company in October to check and see when they would be needed. Some of these gentlemen were struggling to decide if they would give this type of work a try or keep on doing what they're doing now. There are even some of our inshore fishermen at the Faroe checking out the possibility of applying for a position at Veritas. Miss Price told us they were pleased with the turnout, and she told us they probably wouldn't stay for the remainder of the day, since they had quite a few applications earlier in the day. We wish all those who applied for a job every success. The LOA has started their summer fundraising. The LOA are selling tickets on a handcrafted Newfoundland quilt. This quilt was made by Doris Symes. The material was donated by Doris Symes and Sheila Oxford. It has pictures of some familiar items in our Newfoundland culture. These pictures were colored by Anne and then sewn on. It is outlined with the Newfoundland tartan. This would make a lovely addition to your home, or it would make a wonderful gift. If you want to take a look at this beautiful quilt, it is on display at the Scotia Bank. Tickets are $1 each or 3 for $2, and you can get your tickets by calling Biddy at 886-2743, Doris at 886-2433, or Rosie at 886-2735. The draw date is Sunday, July the 31st, during the closing of the Sand and Sea Festival. Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council, we held our regular council meeting on Wednesday, June the 15th. We had 6 members in attendance. It wasn't what you call one of our more newsy meetings. They're eventful meetings, but nevertheless, we did conduct what business was there for that period of time. One of the things we spent a little time on was dilapidated properties and old car wrecks. Some instances it seems as if the car wrecks or old cars being scattered around is starting to increase or something. But anyway, the town manager was given the green light some time ago from council to deal with the situation in accordance with the Local Government Act, which gives him the authority. And of course he will be proceeding along the lines as being instructed, and always looking at the legal aspect of it and getting advice from the lawyer before anything is done. But nevertheless, for those of you who do have old wrecks around, or your property is down there and you've received letters or so on from the town manager, then let's make it easy for everybody and comply with the requests which have been sent out. With regards to our playground, the town manager presented us with some estimates of repair work and upgrading that the council would like to see. One of the things was the tennis court. We spent a fair sum of money on that with what was supposed to be the proper coating. However, you know, it didn't last. It peeled off, and it appears to be as if there was no vapor barrier put under the cement, and it's a damp area. But the moisture coming up through it sort of lifts the coating. However, we've heard that just about everybody have switched over to paving their tennis courts, putting a coat of asphalt on top of the concrete and so on. And we certainly would like to do that, but given the cost, we had to sort of put it on hold for this year. But it's put on hold according to the estimate we had. But if a better estimate should come along, then it is possible maybe it could be done this year. But in the meantime, we plan on trying to get it just a little repairs done with it this year, and more or less leaving a message for the new council to to try tackle the problem and budget in their 2006 budget for monies to pave the tennis court. But we did agree, however, that it was time to put the thing with the gravel, you know, on our playground. The playground looks, there's a spot of grass there, and then there's a spot of grass there, and so on and so forth. So, you know, when we really should have a grass area and a gravel area. So given that, the town manager will be checking the possibility of getting gravel and finishing the playground in that regard. The incinerator, there's been a bit of delay on receiving the materials to do the repairs. However, we do expect to have it underway before the end of July. Hopefully, that the incinerator will be repaired. There was a lady in Ontario, and she bought a house. And in the house, she found a picture of two ladies on the fish flakes out what we call the Clements area. It's a very good picture given the time and so on. It was in 1903. Anyway, the lady contacted the town office and offered to give us the picture, which she did. It's a fairly large picture, and so therefore we're having it framed, and we will be, I think we'll be hanging it in the council chambers. So, you know, you just don't know what you're going to come up with. You know, someone in Ontario buying a house and doesn't have a clue now whether it was the owners that she bought the house from, or was it previous owners or previous to that. But anyway, it's a very distinct and clear picture with the two ladies with the sunbonnets on their heads and working on the flakes, and it was back in 1903. So I don't think there's too many around that can remember who the ladies were. With regards to the kiosks up on the Burjo Road, we weren't successful in getting a student to staff it this year. So after much thought, we have come to the conclusion it's time to call that off. So in the not too distant future, you will see that the town manager will be putting on tenders the building and everything that goes with it. What our intention is, then no doubt we probably won't be able to do it this year, but whatever we get for the sale of that property, we would use the money to buy a large exhibit, probably, I don't know what, but it would be a striking picture of some kind, a large exhibition type thing that could be mounted somewhere out there on the road, and would speak volumes to people who would be interested in coming into this area. So if you're interested in this piece of property this building and so on that we have up there, just watch the BBS, and no doubt the call for tenders will be out. It is a valuable piece of property. It won't be giveaway, that you can rest assured of. So, you know, if you really have a concern, have an interest in it, then watch for the tender when it is announced. The RCMP detachment, you know, some time ago, we had several officers came down, and I don't know, I'd say that goes back to probably 6-7 years ago. There's a big move to build a new detachment here in Burjo. And you know, Burjo needs a new detachment. The property is run down. It doesn't come under probably dilapidated property, but you know, it's not the property that you would expect the force to have as one of their detachments in Newfoundland. I think you drive all over Newfoundland, you wouldn't find one that looks like it. I know as I drive around, I see the nice detachments and so on. They stand out, they look good. So in that regard, the town will be writing the RCMP, reminding them of their plans some years ago to replace the detachment here in Burjo, requesting that they give serious thought to replacing the detachment here in Burgeo. And you know, I mean, look at the beautiful facility that the Coast Guard now has. And certainly the federal building is kept in good shape. So, you know, to have a federal government facility, especially an RC&P detachment, you know, where spit and polish is the name of the game, it doesn't bode well for the force. And of course, we're going to advise them of that and see what they see which way they will respond to our request. Now it's come to the time, you've heard me say it many times, that we're heading for an election this year. And last night we had to set the nomination dates, and we did. And we're given lots of dates because we're going to have 5 days for nominations. So if you should be out of town and missed it and so on and so forth, that excuse is not going to be there. And you can be nominated by proxy as well. But anyway, it was moved and seconded last night that we would have 5 days for nomination to the Burgeo Town Council for the new election. And the dates will be from August the 30th to September the 6th. Now, you've got a long weekend, Labor Day weekend comes in between there, but if you look at the calendar, you will see that will give you 5 days to go to the town office and have yourself nominated for council. It really is, you know, you should seriously consider running for council. And if you feel that you can't run for council, and you know someone or you've got a friend or one thing or the other who you feel could really make a contribution and be a good councillor, then you should put the pressure on him or her. And I want to emphasize the her part because, you know, we really should have some women on our council. So, you know, give it some serious thought. Municipal council is the lifeblood of your town. I can assure you on that. You can have all the other organizations you want. But when it comes down right to the nitty-gritty, when it comes down to dealing with government, it's municipal government that the federal and the provincial government and just about everybody refers to and accepts as the official body in town. So it's your town, and we've got a lot of, we've got some young people there. You just gotta sometimes give in and give up a couple of nights and a few hours and a bit of your time and contribute something to your town. Or I guarantee you, if you seen what happened to your school board, and you couldn't fill the school board, eventually it was swallowed up. And I just came back from a meeting in Gander, and it's quite possible that if a town can't ook it, you'll come under some other council. Now, how would you like to have Burgeo under the Stephenville Town Council? Or how would you like to have Burgeo under the Ramya Town Council? Well, it's a choice for you to make. And there's people out there can do it, so I can't emphasize strong enough that it's time to get out and get yourself nominated, and let's have a big election. And there will be some of the old councillors that will be trying to go back, and of course there's some that won't. But there's always room, and let's just come out and just show some true Burgeo spirit. In July and August, we'll only be having one meeting per month. This is a pretty standard thing with most councils. And our meeting in July will be July the 13th, and it was decided that the one in August will be August the 17th. With regards to town maintenance, we had some discussion on that. So within the very near future now, you will see that the crews will be out doing the crosswalks and the paving, hopefully within a week. That there's going to be something moving on fixing up some of those ridiculous areas that we got. I'm very pleased to announce tonight that we were informed that one person has come forward to be a judge for the beautification, the Burgeo beautification thing. That's Miss Joan Melbourne. I want to thank Joan very sincerely. It's good to see that she came forward. And we'd like to have two more. people. And you know, we've given it pretty much discussion, and usually a thing like that is done on a point system. So, you know, even if you are going to be judged yourself, then if we had 3 judges, well then, you know, you wouldn't judge your own property, but by all means the other 2 judges could judge your property. So, you know, give that some thought to. There's a lot of people out there who've got a good eye for beauty and things of that type. So come forward and offer yourself to be one of the judges for the Burgeo beautification. We had invoices in the amount of $17,561.88. They were approved for payment. I would like to also advise you that, as you know, we had some pretty big water breaks, and we've identified some pretty problematic water problems that's there waiting for us. So shortly after school closes, you want to watch BBS, because there's going to be 1, if not 2, and they could be fairly long, shutdowns of water within the municipality. We've got to repair the area in the in the seal hole area. That's one. And in the old chlorination building, things are looking pretty thin in that area. So I just advise you that now to be prepared. If you see it on television, draw off the water, and yeah, some of those shutdowns could be extensive. You no doubt saw the notice that the town manager has on BBS regarding the sale of property. And you know, it was only last week he had someone in here, but that there is people interested. And you know, when someone drops in for 5 minutes, just off the top of your head, you can't come up with, oh yeah, so-and-so might be selling their house, or so-and-so might be selling theirs. So what I'd like to remind you and draw your attention to is the notice that the town manager has on the television. And you know, if you've got a house that's up for sale, or a piece of land or something like that, just call the town office. They'll make a note of it. And if someone comes looking to buy property, I mean, you don't have to tell the town manager how much you're selling for or anything like that. All he'd like to know the name, that you've got a piece of property that you're interested in selling. And if there is inquiries, then he'll pass your name on. So that's one way that maybe we can keep someone in those houses rather than having them empty. And that's about it for us for this week, so I'll see you sometime next month. Good night.
Stay with us for Off the Rack and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
What you gonna do? Hey, mister. You drop this? Have a good day, sir.
Honesty. Pass it on.
Hey, wait a minute.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of a kindergarten graduation. How many of these children can you recognize? Let's look back to June the 18th, 1990. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. To all the fathers in our community, we would wish you a very happy and healthy Father's Day. We hope you enjoyed your day. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.